Fourth measure is profitability index, or PI. What is it? It says how much value a project creates for each dollar of the project's cost. It's a ratio. Simple, right? It's a ratio of benefits over costs, basically. That's it. A lot of times that's associated with the saying bang for your buck, right? Because the more benefit that you get per dollar of cost, basically. So don't put a percent sign behind it. Don't put a dollar sign in front of it. It's just a number. It's okay. Not everything needs a accessory attached to it. Formula for it you'll have in the exam, but it's pretty straightforward. It says it's the present value of the future cash flows divided by the initial cost of the project. Cool thing is, after you do MIRR, you already have this information. So I'm going to scroll back up really quick. All right, I want the present value of the future cash flows. So I don't want NPV for all the cash flows. I only want NPV for the inflows. So I want that 118,729 or 7829 and the 119,988. Right, that was the long, that was the short. That's the numbers you're going to want. Let me see if I remember how I cut and paste on this thing. Probably not. Nope. It's been a while since I've done that. Oh well, I'll just do one of them. 118.78.29. We'll do that one. 118.78.29. So 118.78.29. So so no year zero. Whenever you do the top part. I just want the future cash flows, because year zero goes in the bottom. So there's the 100. And don't put the negative, right? Because it's always going to be a negative number. So don't do that. And I just divide those two, right? So I take 118, 78, 29, and I divide that by 100, which of course just turns out to be 1.19. Not a percent, not a dollar, 1.19. Okay? So I'm getting $1.19 for every dollar I put into this project in terms of cost. I get $1.19. That's how we interpret that. Why do we even do this? No one's going to make the main decision based on profitability index, but it does give us something unique. It gives us an idea of how risky a project maybe is, right? So it gives us an idea about risk. The way I always think about it in my head is that I think about a cushion, right? And how much cushion do I have before I get into trouble, basically. So I think if sitting on a bare wooden chair versus a wooden chair with a big pillow on it, right? Well, the higher the profitability index, the bigger that pillow is, right? And that way my butt doesn't start hurting from sitting on a, wooden chair. But as profitability index gets closer and closer and closer to 1, well, that cushion's going away, right? So having a higher profitability index, if we can think, means the project's a little bit safer maybe, because you have more cushion before you turn into a bad project. Because think about it. The general rule, of course, is we want the top number to be bigger than the bottom number, right? I want my benefits to be higher than the cost. Well, for the benefits to be higher than the cost, that means that we're going to accept anytime we have a profitability index greater than 1, and we're going to reject anytime we have a profitability index less than 1. Simple as that. Right? But the closer I get to 1, the closer I get to a project that shouldn't be accepted. So if I have 2 projects and everything else is the same, let's say one has 1 at 1.8 and one has it at 1.2, I'm like, that's scary, right? The 1.2 is scary. 1.8 has a lot more cushion for things to go wrong before it turns bad. 1.2, not so much. So We always want higher values, of course. It just means it's safer. And then I'm generating even more profits for the cost that I'm investing into the project. So, of course, for independent projects, it doesn't matter. Take as many as you want as long as profitability index is greater than 1. For mutually exclusive, it should agree with NPV, right? Because again, we're using time value of money here, right? This is the exact same information that we use to calculate NPV. And so you shouldn't have conflicts for mutually independent projects with NPV, so it shouldn't be a problem. It's really only IRR and payback that can conflict with NPV, because MIRR and profitability index are both using time value of money, and they're both assuming a discount rate of WACC. They shouldn't conflict with NPV. So you shouldn't have an issue with mutually exclusive projects with this, but again, you can only choose one. But that is profitability index. You will have that formula on the exam. Just remember, don't include year 0 and don't include the negative. It just doesn't make sense.